Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Creatively Crafted Life. My name is Melanie. Nikki is with me for another Calling Creatives, the last one of the year. Hi, Nikki.
Hey Melanie, how's it going? It's the last of the year. Holy cow.
Yeah, where did the time go, right?
Oh my gosh, it's gone. That's for sure.
Yeah. So this actually might even be our last conversation for a little bit, maybe. We haven't quite sorted out what we're going to do in 2025. Nikki is going to take a little bit of a break from the YouTube world. You excited about that?
I'm excited and nervous a little bit because I still am going to be on a design team, so I'll need to get some stuff for that done uh, prior to February because baby is due February, and I need a break once February hits.
Yeah. So we tossed around some ideas of, me still roping her into at least one conversation a month, but we'll see we'll have to play it by ear and see how it goes. So if you don't see anything at the beginning of the year, don't worry. We're still considering it. But that's in the future, right? That's in the future. So let's talk about today. And I think it's only fitting that we reflect a little bit back on the 2024 year and what our thoughts were on how it was from a crafting perspective, right? So Nikki, what do you think your biggest accomplishments were, or what are you the most proud of, or what are you the happiest you completed in 2024?
So I'm glad I met my friend Mickey. She has dragged me to 9 in-person crops this year.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
impressive.
That's
That's
impressive, especially because I had not been doing that many previously. And one of my goals was to get out in the community more. So I've met a lot of different people. I'm actually currently sitting in a hotel room because I'm at a Christmas crop. It's Snoopy themed. So, of course, I have to wear a Snoopy shirt.
that's awesome. I think that's great. I'm glad that you live in an area where that is a possibility. I know many of us, they're few and far between.
Yes, yes. I appreciate the Kansas City area because they are very active, very in their community. I'm part of Facebook groups that they meet every Wednesday and Thursday over Zoom just to meet and like talk and
Right.
chat. It's a lot of fun.
Right.
So that's been a lot of fun. I also tried classes because one of my goals last year was to get out and do some classes. I found they were interesting. They were not scrapbooking craft classes. It was like a stitching class and then a quilling class. So things that I'd never tried before. I'm glad I did the class because I will never do those two things again.
Too fussy.
Too fussy. Yep. I like
Yeah.
my scrapbooking.
Yeah. But that's good. I think it is good to try different things because you never know, right? And to be fair, I have seen some of the quilling show up at least in one of your layouts after you took it. So,
Yes.
that's kind of fun, that you can still incorporate it to some extent, maybe not full on, but that you can still use that skill. That's cool.
Yep. And that was part of the process too, is why take the classes if scrapbooking is my primary. It's so that I can bring in some of those techniques into my scrapbooking. Like I really wanted to figure out how to do like embroidered flowers on paper. Well, that's really hard because you have to do a lot of stitching through the paper and then it just kind of disintegrates the paper. But it gave me ideas on like how to outline and that kind of thing pieces. I haven't translated that to scrapbooking yet, but it kind of reminds me of like Paige Evans style.
Right. And it's also very time consuming.
Oh my gosh, so much time.
I love it. I love the look of it, but yeah, it's like I have to be in the right mood. And normally, all I usually end up doing when I stitch is just like a border or like a line or something like that, just because of that. If I had a better setup, like if I had more like flat space, I probably would have my sewing machine set up permanently, and I would probably do more stitching with the sewing machine because that would be fast. But I'm not going to pull it out for a layout. I'm just not.
Yep.
Not generally, not anyways.
Yeah, I actually got a mini sewing machine off Facebook Marketplace for $12 so I could have it on my desk to see how that works. The problem with the mini sewing machine is though the gap between like the needle and the sewing machine is so small. You really have to do edge work
Yeah,
on your pages because I mean it's 12 inches versus like 3-inch clearance. What
yeah,
are you gonna do? So we'll see how it works. It was $12. Like not
yeah.
a big
Either
deal.
that or you have to stitch on the layers before you adhere them.
Hmm.
That would be the other option. But if you don't try, you don't know, right? So
Right.
lots
Right.
of experimentation. It's one of the reasons why I like to take classes, just to get myself out of my comfort zone, just to kind of, reset that creativity. Speaking of creativity, and maybe not one of the highlights of 2024, but I did struggle again this year for a few months where, it just was not flowing. And
Yep.
I'm noticing a pattern that it tends to happen, September through about November. Call it burnout from work. I'm not sure exactly what the trigger is, but that seems to be a pattern. So now that I've recognized that, I think now I can try and come up with strategies to deal with it. Or the other thing is just be okay with it, right? Like, just,
Right.
it is what it is. And, I know it'll kick back in once I recover from the work situation a little bit. Was there anything that you were disappointed in this year, or that you wish had it come out in a different way?
So my goal at the beginning of the year was to have a video a week. I ended up having 95 videos this year, which is pretty good. Like, that's over a video a week. It's
Yeah,
about 2 videos a week, really, almost. But there were definitely weeks where I did not film, did not
yeah,
post, did not do whatever. Part of that is because I got pregnant halfway through the year, you know?
right.
The other part, like if it was anything in the beginning of the year, I was focusing on my house and getting that. This is the first year I'd ever focused on improving my house. So,
Yeah,
and we've been here for 5 years. Like,
yeah,
it's about time to focus on the house. And so I just did other projects. I was feeling creative, not on the page, but in life instead.
right.
So I think that's okay.
Yeah,
You know what?
yeah.
I ended up with almost 2 videos a week on average. So that's pretty good.
Well, you more than met your goal. So nothing
Right.
nothing to knock there. That's for sure not. I know for myself, I found that I was a little lacking in the completed layout department.
Mm.
So I made a ton of cards this year. And again, I don't know. I suspect it's probably a combination of the fact that I've just been so busy work wise that I just didn't have the mental capacity to do the layouts. Whereas the cards were a lot of times were made using scraps, leftover bits. I didn't necessarily do a lot of stamping. It was using die cuts. So there was kind of an ease of using it or being creative in that way. So I think for this next year, so we're jumping in a little bit into what our goals are for next year, but I would really like to try and get back into the groove with the scrapbooking and make some progress on that, which means printing photos.
Did you ever figure out your printing issue? Did you get
No,
that to work? No. Dang it.
no,
Ugh.
still struggling.
Yeah. At this point, it's like just get the PM 400 or whatever, the picture mate that everybody gets, just so you can print your
Oh,
dang photos.
oh yeah. Oh, that issue. Yeah. No, I ended up buying a new printer.
Okay.
I did. Now the old printer is still sitting in my house. I need to get rid of it. The problem is that the old one weighs about 50 pounds,
Oh,
and I
geez.
I can't carry it out of the apartment. I need like something to wheel it to my car.
Mhm.
And I did contact, I don't know if this is everywhere, but Staples here does e-waste. And so I want to bring it there. I don't want to just chuck it in the garbage, but I'm not sure if they'll take it because it's so big. Like,
Yeah.
it was a wide format printer. So, it's probably about this wide, but
Mhm.
it's 50 pounds. And so the other part is, even if I can get it there, I don't know if I can lift it out of the car enough to, get it on a cart or something to wheel it in. So I'm going to have to rope the boyfriend in to give me a hand one day. The problem is just getting the timing right. So maybe over Christmas, we'll finally get it out the door.
It's part of the honeydew list, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you need to help me, but then I probably also need to clean out the trunk of my car. So,
So
it's
it's a,
one of those
mhm.
domino effect things that all have to be in perfect order before they all lined up. But yeah, that's something I want to do. I need to print the photos, and I need to get some scrapbooking done
Yep.
2025. Your first part of the year is definitely going to be focused on new baby.
Mhm. Yep.
Are
And
you
resting. I'm
yeah.
ready to
Are
rest.
are you excited about scrapbooking baby photos again?
Yes and no. I am excited because it's a girl, and so now I get to buy all the girly paper, which is really fun. I did pick out like I like to do at least the first 6 months the same kind of paper pack.
Yeah.
And so I picked out, I think it's Our Baby, like Our Baby and Our Baby Girl are the two collections that I picked from Echo Park. So they work well together. I got the solids kit. I'm good to go in that aspect. I have not started yet though, and I have ultrasound pictures I should probably start on.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you doing 8x8, 12x12?
12 by 12. Yep. My 8x8 are more like photo, like one photo that doesn't really tell a story, but I still want to scrapbook it because it was a fun photo. So her stuff will probably be added into the 8x8 and just kind of mixed in. I think I'm going to try and do one photo or one layout for her. Like she'll get the original, and then if my son is in the photo, he'll get a copy, and I'll print it on my wide format paper printer and then put it in his. I did find out that my local library has a wide format printer or scanner, excuse me. So I can scan it and it does the 3D elements as well because it's flatbed.
Oh, nice.
So it's, yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah, because that's a different challenge, right? Like, what do you do when you have, now that you're going to have two kids, like how do you manage that? Or what your thoughts are? You could either, maintain two albums, or are you going to do bits and pieces, or
Yeah.
yeah.
I think for my sanity point is I'm going to do one layout and scan and print
Right.
for the other book so that they still get it,
Yeah.
and maybe it's like if the story is focused on him but has her in it, then it'll go in him as the original and her as the copy, or
Right.
something like that. Or maybe it doesn't even make it into her album because the story is really about him and being a big brother.
Right.
So I guess it'll just kind of depend on what the photo in the story is.
Right. Exciting times. Maybe.
Maybe.
Or a lot more work. Or maybe a lot more work. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's a lot more work.
Yeah. Do you have any other goals for next year, or get through the pregnancy, figure out where you're at, and then see what's what?
So I have resigned from 2 of my 3 design teams. My last design team that I'm on is until April.
Okay.
So my goal is to get stuff done prior to January, through April. So I need to kind of lock down and get all that kind of stuff done for that design team and just be done. So what will probably end up happening is I'll just schedule those videos out on YouTube because that's easy. And then you'll see maybe 2 videos a month.
Okay. That's some new times coming ahead for you. So,
yes.
Okay. So we kind of talked about, what we were, proud of for last year, what we maybe weren't so proud of for last year, a little bit of what's going on for the next year. I have a couple other areas that I just wanted to touch base on. So one was organizing. So I spent a lot of time going through paper, and at the time that this video is going up, which is going to be on Christmas Day, which Merry Christmas, everybody. And I hope you have a wonderful time with your family. I'm hoping that all those videos will be up. So I will end 2024 with my 12 by 12 paper has been purged and sorted. And I'm really proud of that. Like, I think I ended up with about 8 large USPS boxes. Like,
wow.
So 8 boxes. At the time that we're filming this, I sent out 3. And so I still have a few more to go. I haven't quite decided if the couple of boxes are going to go out yet before Christmas, or if I'm just going to wait until the new year and then we'll do another draw, or not a draw, but like a giveaway for them. We'll see how things play out. The way time is flying by, it's probably going to be in 2025. But 2025, I do want to continue going through my space. I'm going to try and tackle embellishment. I can't quite wrap my head around how to purge that in a way that makes sense and film it. Because I find a lot of times it's like one little die cut or one little sticker or whatever. Like it's not like paper where you got this like 12 by 12 piece of paper that I'm and I can stack it up and you can see what I'm getting rid of. So I'm not sure exactly how that's all gonna play out, but I do want to go through that. Moving is still on the potential radar. So the more I purge and the more I sort through it, the better I think that move will be. But yeah, now you moved in
Yeah.
2024.
Yep. I moved all my stuff from upstairs to downstairs.
So it's finished, it's done, it's
No. No, it's never going to be done, Melody. But I will say, I think I've got one more scrapbooking item, and it's my frame that has my goals for 2024 on it that needs to come downstairs. But the rest of it's in the basement. It just needs to be like put in bookshelves and sorted, and it's just a lot of chaos in the basement right now. I definitely want to get that done, but I want to get the baby's room done first because that's more like heavy lifting, getting a
right.
crib in there, painting, puttying, because I have a lot of holes in my wall. I texted Melody. I was like, you've organized a lot and changed your mind a lot when you have this many holes in your wall.
Yeah. So your new space is not completely functional, or have you made it at least somewhat functional?
Yes, it's functional. But it's like just hard to find paper at this point, because it's in boxes that I used to move downstairs, and now I need to get it back into my cube unit. Yeah, it's a whole thing. I've got a craft room tour update video that went live at the beginning of December. So I'll try to link that in the upper right-hand corner if people want to check that out.
Yeah.
So
sounds good. Okay.
yep.
So besides organizing, obviously your focus is going to be on your nursery, and then eventually getting back down into the basement and getting that sorted out. Do you have any other organizational goals that you've got on the radar for next year? Or are you like, no, this is enough, let me get through this first?
Let me get through this first for sure.
Yeah.
I did purge a lot. So I made probably $300 to $400 in sales of my stuff. So that's pretty good. It did not offset the cost of a new room though, unfortunately. It did about half. And then I kept some things that I was like, oh, I really want to keep this fabric, but where am I going to put it?
Right.
And so I've got to either just leave it in the upstairs room or bring it downstairs or get rid of it, So I gotta, there's like little things like that where I don't think it's gonna fit,
Right.
And I really do want it in a dedicated area. So we'll see what happens. I don't know.
Yeah.
At this point, it's more of let's get through February, probably March, and then I'll think back around to making more YouTube videos and that kind of thing. I hope to be back. I hope to have a lot more inspiration because it's a new life, new things that you can document, a big major change. Looking back at 2024, like I had mentioned, I did 95 videos and I did 27 shorts. So that's pretty good. We talked about last year how you wanted to start doing YouTube shorts. Did you accomplish that? No.
I did one. I filmed a couple others like that I thought would be kind of cool, and then I never got around to posting them. And now I don't even know where the videos are, to be honest. How do I put it this way? The YouTube videos, and again, for you that are watching, this is just an insight into this kind of crazy world that YouTube is. It takes a lot of effort, right? And so this is fun for me. It's not my job. And so I don't have the capacity to make big productions, right? Like my videos are not scripted. They're not, I don't have 50 million cameras with different angles, and I don't video edit with all this fancy, zooming out music, all that stuff, because all of that just takes time, right? And I just don't have that kind of time on it. So I have a system now for filming. I know how to film my content in such a way that doesn't take me hours to edit it. So I can get through it pretty quickly. So it's a routine. The shorts, it's like a whole new game, right? You only get like a minute or 2 minutes or something. Like it's a completely different way of approaching. And I just don't have enough practice to make it fast. And so it's just really hard to fit it in.
Yep, I agree. The thing I think that changed it for me and then it allowed me to start doing shorts was the program that I chose to use. So I use a program called Descript, and it's AI. But the part that I really like about it is that it transcribes the video for me. It will auto remove all the spaces because I do have a lot of pauses in my videos. So that shortens the amount of time that I have to like slice and cut and all that kind of stuff because it automatically removes them. It removes the uhs,
Yes.
that kind of thing. And then I can highlight a section of text and copy it into a short video.
Okay.
So that makes it really nice. And I can delete words to make it shorter instead of trying to figure out the best composition. I can just read the script, make sure it's under a minute, and then there's my short video.
And most of your shorts, are they like a section of a longer video?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So I don't film twice usually for my shorts. It's the one video and I've just shortened it to like a part of it that's the best. So for example, one of our conversations was about stencils. I think it was when we were talking about the Vicky Bouton off brand. The section that I talked about was a new stencil type, and that was my #1 top viewed short at 481 views. And then another one was I was doing a project and I talked about a stamping jig where you cut out the die and then you stamp inside that space so it's the same spot every time. That had 472. And then another video, I was using a fuse tool and I just talked about tips for using the fuse tool, and that had 457.
So you got some good traction on them, at least.
Yes, I did. Yep. To the point where I've got 558 public views or like hours or whatever, which is pretty good. For 27 videos. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, I will put it on the radar again for next year. We'll see how it goes. It's not like I'm trying to make this my job, so I don't feel this burning need to be overly, I don't know, overly invested in it. It's the same with I'm bad at posting on Instagram and all of those things. It's just I just don't have the capacity. If YouTube paid a little better, maybe it would be a different story, but the turnaround is just not there. The payoff's just not there. I mean,
yeah, I feel like you almost have to have a scrapbooking store behind your YouTube video in order to help, because affiliate links just don't generate the money that people say.
Okay, so speaking of money, how'd you do spending?
Actually I did okay. The first part of the year I was scrapbooking more, and I've talked about this before. If I'm not scrapbooking, I'm not spending, right? And so I think I only spent, my budgeted allowance for my design teams for like three of the 12 months. So I feel like that's pretty good when previously it was like $100 every week. So $40 a month, I feel like that's a really good change in pace. Yeah. How did you do?
I did okay. I was just looking at, because I keep track of my spending, right? And I'm about, at this point, I'm about 1% lower than last year, which I was hoping to be more than that, but I'll take 1% lower. Like, especially with the way prices have gone up and stuff like that. It's okay. I'm okay with it. And I did really well there for a period where I just wasn't buying very much at all. And then I think, to your point, when I wasn't scrapbooking, then I started buying. And I think it's just a way to feel connected to the hobby when you're not feeling creatively inspired. And so I did spend a little bit, probably in September up until Black Friday.
Yeah.
Those all haven't come in yet.
Yeah.
But I am, now that Black Friday's done, I have kind of just mentally told myself that, like, that's it. I'm not allowed to buy anything for a few more months. I'm going to kind of go on a spending freeze. I think probably until March. I'm going to try that again. Again, with the idea or the thought of possibly moving, it just doesn't make sense to bring more stuff in, to just have to ship it out. So, and I've already done enough damage on Black Friday. So, I just need to chill for a little bit. So
yeah. Speaking of Black Friday and like the move, I think a majority of the reason why I didn't spend was because I had the thought of, if I bring it in, I have to figure out a space to put it. And I don't have space right now because I was moving from upstairs to downstairs in October and November. And it just, like, I didn't want to deal with the extra chaos that causes.
Yeah.
Black Friday, I did spend more than I thought I would, because I actually went to the Springfield store, Scrapbook Generations, because they're closing at the end of the year. And I really wanted to like see the store one last time, because it's not going to be around. It's close enough that I was able to drive. I spent the weekend after Thanksgiving in Springfield with a friend. I was a little frustrated because I wasn't able to get the same deals in store that they were online.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so I wish I had just paid online and done store pickup instead of actually going in store. I feel bad saying this, but I'm not going to shop there anymore.
Okay.
Even online. Unfortunately, it just was not a good experience. That was the second time I'd been there. First time was great. I got to meet the owner. I walked in this time. The owner was sitting at the desk. I had to go to the bathroom because I was pregnant. She's like, "Are you a customer?" "Yeah, I'm a customer."
Yeah.
Like, that's the first thing that you say to me?
Yeah.
I just wasn't impressed, and I feel really bad saying that because, like, it's a local company, but I'm really frustrated. Their customer service was not good. The fact that I couldn't do the same deals that they were doing online.
Yeah.
I couldn't use any of the points that I had online in their system in store. I don't know. My friend who's not a scrapbooker is a crocheter, and she's like, "That looks like the section at Michael's." I was like, "Oh, you don't say that, because Michael's is really bad at scrapbooking stuff." But she compared the store to Michael's.
Yeah. Well, and part of that could be because they are closing down, that they just haven't reinvested in the store stuff. I don't know. Or maybe that's what's left. I don't know.
Yeah. Like the store, everything had stuff on the shelves. So, but yeah, my friend wasn't impressed with their customer service either.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's too bad. Spending freeze for me, I think, for the next little bit. We'll see how it goes. It's always a struggle, right? So
it is.
You know,
I did notice I was not paying attention to a cherry on top pre-orders. I was not, constantly looking at Simple Stories website. And I like didn't know that one of the 49 and Market collections came out. I had no idea until I started looking for Black Friday sales. Okay. So I kind of was like disconnected from that realm of knowing exactly what's coming out when it comes out.
Yeah. See, I wouldn't know that either, because I was trying to disconnect from it. So I wasn't actively searching for anything. What ended up happening why did I end up buying on Black Friday? Because I was traveling. So even that helped, right? Because I wasn't sitting at home. And, I'd been in the hotel at night after I'd been driving around and stuff. And I just was like, oh, let me just go check my email. And in the email, there was a couple, notifications from a couple companies. And I clicked on it. Bad move. Never click on it, Yes. And then it was like, oh, so I think there was, I made purchases from a new to me company. It's called Scrappy Tail Crafts. I've never bought from them before.
Okay.
So that was something new. And then Spellbinders had a pretty good sale. So I bought a few things. I bought a completely thing that I did not need, but I somehow convinced myself that I did need it.
Did you get the foil? Are you foiling now?
No, I already have a foiling machine from before so that wasn't it. I bought another die cutting machine.
Melanie, you don't need it.
I know. So here's my justification. Take it for whatever it's worth. So I have the little sidekick. Love this thing. I use it all the time, clearly, right? I also have the Sizzix Switch, which is the bigger electronic one, right? Love that one too. But I don't like using the Switch for small die cuts because it takes forever, right? Like you got to run it through. So that's why I use the small one. The problem is the small one is too small. It needs to be just a little bit bigger. So I bought a little bit bigger one.
Is it electronic or is it manual?
Manual. Yeah. So, and it was on sale and, okay, whatever. It came with a few dies. It is what it is. Time will tell if I made the right decision or not. I think I will because, like I said, I like the sidekick, but one of my frustrations is that it's
2.5 inches wide. Like it's not very big.
Whereas I think the Spellbinder one is, not the Spellbinder, the Spellbinder one is 4 or 4.5, I think.
If it's 4.5, that would be perfect because that's, the size of a card, So I understand that. I understand it. It was kind of like me with getting the Cricut Joy versus having a silhouette already.
It's just when you have a lot of small dies to cutting it on the big machine is just, it's not, yeah, anyways. And because I've been taking so many classes and they've been doing a lot of die cutting, I'm like, okay, anyways, it is what it is. And what else did and then Hip Kit had their sale.
Yes,
so
they almost got me. They almost got me, except for the one paper pad that I wanted sold out while I was in my cart. And I was like, okay, not getting it.
There you go. As far as 2025 goes, so spending freeze for me for the first few months, more layout. You know, I'm going to have to come up with some way to challenge myself to get more layouts done. If you guys are interested in hearing what my challenges are going to be and want to play along, let me know, because we can post something on the Facebook group or whatever. I also had a challenge to use up some of my SCT sampler kits. I think I have probably about 8 or 9 left. So that's going to be another part of my challenge next year, is just to get those used up, because then I don't have to store them. I have, I didn't even mention this. I bought a bunch of fabric.
Oh.
So I used to sew way more, and I used to quilt and stuff like that way back in the day. So I like to dabble in it every now and then, just to kind of get that out of my system, so to speak. So I had bought some more fabric. So at this point, I have enough fabric to probably make 4 or 5 quilts. So I need to start working on that.
Oh man, that's a lot of fabric.
Yeah. So I've gone to a very simplified quilting process, like just very simple quilts. And what I've been doing is, for my younger nephews and nieces, they all got like a lap quilt kind of thing, you know, snuggle up with the blanket and read a book at night kind of thing. And they all love them. They all call them their anti-mel blankets. Aww. And so the younger ones are done, but I started doing this, you know, the older ones never got anything from me in that way. So I thought, well, now I will make lap quilts for the older ones, but they're going to be bigger, because they
gotta be bigger.
You know, they're teenager, adult kind of thing, versus, you know, the 2-year-old, I can make a smaller, you know, kind of cuddle blanket or whatever. So yeah, so I bought fabric to make some of those. And, you know, if I can do a couple of them, you know, for the next time I go home, you know, and I just kind of tackle away at that, then eventually they'll all end up with a blanket. And then by that time, the younger ones will have outgrown their smaller blankets, and I'll have to make them bigger ones. And
yes, that's a whole cycle.
Yeah. But the sewing is tricky, because I don't like to sew on my craft desk. It's because it's a standing desk. And I can't lower it, and I don't like to sew standing up. I like it just doesn't.
No, that's hard.
Yeah, feel right. So then I have to do it outside, like in my dining room, which means, you know, ties up your dining room, blah blah blah. Long story. For you know, whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's something I thought about when I was getting my new craft room, is I wanted a standing desk, but I also wanted to sit. So I made sure to get one of those electric ones where you just push a button and it'll go to the sitting position, and push a button and it goes to the standing position. So majority of the time it's in the standing position, but when I do want to do things like sewing, I'll be able to put it in a sitting position, or if I just get tired off my feet, you know, holding a baby or doing whatever, I'll be able to sit. One thing that I did last year is I made my own bags for gifts. So I used fabric that I knew wasn't going to be for a project, and just made like a pillowcase, and that was a bag for a gift, you know. Right. And if the piece was too small to fold in half and make it a bag, I just cut it with those shears that are the pointy ones. Yeah.
Shears, yeah.
And so then you just put the gift in the center and you kind of just tie it. If you need to get rid of your fabric in a way, I usually wrap my adult gifts that way. And then the kids get the wrapping paper, because kids love wrapping paper.
Yeah.
Adults, they can deal with
it. To rip it apart.
Yep. So, and if you look on Amazon, it's expensive to get reusable bags.
Yeah.
Like they want to charge you, if you want to just do like a gift, they'll charge you $4 per bag.
Wow.
And I was like, I have so much fabric. Yep. So I can either cut it and make it a blanket, or like, you know, or I can make it a bag. It doesn't matter which one.
Yeah. And then you gifted me with a little art journal. sewing journal, I don't know, fabric journal, whatever we want to call it,
Yes.
that you had started in and decided was not your cup of tea. And
Mhm.
so I'm excited to explore some of that. So yeah, the more I quilt, the more scrappy bits I'll have to play with in that book. So, we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. And then there's always just juggling, keeping up with the YouTube channel. So
Mhm.
the sewing is not something I would introduce in this channel. It's not something that I'm necessarily, I feel very strongly about, in the sense of that I can appeal to the quilters out there. There's way more quilters out there, way more skilled than I am. But yeah, so if I spend a lot of time on that, then it's harder to put out YouTube videos. So I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Are you still thinking like one a week, one a month? Like, what do you think your frequency is going to be?
I'm going to stick to one a week. That seems to be the sweet spot for me. I was doing 3 at one point, and it was too hard to maintain.
Mhm.
So one a week. Every now and then I'll throw in an extra one, a bonus, if you will. Like I have one going up today, and I had one up on Wednesday. But yeah, one a week seems to be the sweet spot for the amount of effort it takes. But never know if I'm not traveling next year, at least the way it looks now. So maybe I will have a little bit more time, and maybe I'll up it to 2. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm hoping that with you out not traveling next year, you're going to find that you are motivated to be scrapbooking like
Yeah.
those months, September through November.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like you just traveled a lot the last couple months, and that's really hard.
Yeah. It's been the last few years, like the work has just been, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm exhausted. I'm mentally done. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what this year holds. I'm excited about it. Again, if I end up moving, that's a whole other beast.
Yeah. Yeah.
You may see a lot of videos of me packing up my scrapbook because, that's what I do. I show you guys what I'm working on. We may have to have a draw or something. How many boxes do you think it will take to box up Melanie's craft room?
I'm going to guess 500. I was
Yeah.
going to say 1,000, but I was like, no, that's too many. I'll cut that in half, maybe 500.
500. Yeah.
Like little boxes, big boxes,
Yeah. So those of you that are listening, put your guesses down below. I mean, if I do turn it into some sort of giveaway or something, we'll do an official guess. But yeah, for now, I'd be curious to see how many you guys think it would take to box it up.
I should have counted how many trips up and down the dang stairs I did.
Yeah.
I should have, because that would have been interesting. I bet it was about 100.
Yeah.
Up and down.
Well, I have a feeling my craft room will be the Mary Poppins bag, where you just keep pulling stuff out and it never seems to empty.
Yes, that's how I felt. I'm like, man, I've got one more container that I need to bring downstairs. One more container. Nope, you got 2 more containers. No, you got 3 more. I'm like,
Yeah.
So last year I tried to do, a theme each week. I did like my Paper Fun Day challenges, a DIY project, an organization project, and a tour or something like that. Something different every week. I liked it, but I didn't like it. After 10 months of doing the same thing with sketches, you're like, okay, what do I do the last? So I liked it because it gave me some structure, but still freedom to do it. But at the same time, maybe I didn't want to do a sketch. I wanted to work on, organization or something else. So I tried to kind of keep rigidly to it. And if I'm going to go back, I'm just going to go random again. Yeah. It'll be easier.
Well, and again, it's like it still needs to be fun for us to do this, right? Yeah, for those of you watching, what is it? You get what you get. At least on this channel, because it's whatever I'm working on. And really, my intent is just to share my love of this hobby with people that also like it, and that we can feed off of each other, and establish some community is really my goal. So that is it, I think, for today's conversation. For those of you that are listening, we'd love to hear what your best reflections are on 2024. Like, what are you most proud of? What are you glad that you accomplished? And what do you want to do for 2025? Or maybe you are not a goal person at all, and that's okay. Anyways, thanks so much for hanging out with me. Merry Christmas, everybody, and a Happy New Year. And we'll talk to you in the new one.